being here today at this information evening on two very exciting and adventurous group tours that Ruby Travels and Cosmos are organizing next year. This is a short speech, okay? I'd like to introduce Alexa from Cosmos. And some of you have already met her. Have a chat with her right through the evening, ask any questions. She knows all the answers. And she's going to present the first one. It's on Globus, just to give you an idea of what the company is all about. And then she'll tell you something about Spain, Portugal, and Morocco. I'm on this tour. This tour is 16 days starting in Madrid from 18th of May and covers 3 glorious and historic countries, and it ends in Madrid on the 2nd of June. Cheryl's traveling with me, so we are really excited. We got, 5 months to go? Yeah. Love traveling around the world and getting to meet new people when you're on beautiful countrysides of Europe. So here we go. Over to Alex. Thanks so much for coming, Alex. Will you do this for us?
Well, I'm very humbled to be here. Welcome to everyone, and thank you so much for taking your time out on a Friday night to spend it with us. I have quite a hard job this evening of inspiring you all with some wonderful destinations around the world that you may or may not have travelled to previously. Now, I've been working with the Globus family of brands for the last year. Prior to that, I actually was an agent myself, so I understand all the hard work that June would go through on a day-to-day basis to put an evening like this together. And even just thinking of the little details, such as the incense or the music, it really did help with the thinking tonight. So I hope that you're already in the mood for a bit of Spain and Portugal. But a little bit about the great company that I work for, the Globus family of brands. So we are celebrating our 90th year this year. I hope I don't look that old, but in terms of the travel industry in itself, that is a huge landmark for us, and we're quite proud of that. We like to think that we take the stress out of travel since 1928. And the whole goal behind our tours and our river cruises is that you come home feeling like this gentleman and not feeling like you need to go back on another holiday to recover from the holiday that you just had. So in essence, that is the Globus family of brands. We do work closely with quite a few agency groups. However, one of our closest connections here is with Ruby Travels out in this particular area. June has travelled on our programs before, so she knows firsthand what you should expect when you are travelling with us. So while I can't be here in every consultation, you are in perfect hands with June when she's looking after your trips. So to introduce you to the family of brands, tonight we will be particularly focused on Cosmos because that is where we're doing our 2 tours for 2019. However, I thought it would be rude if I did neglect the 3 other brands that are just as important to the Globus family. So I'll start with Globus. I will touch on Cosmos later, like I mentioned. So Globus is where everything originated, essentially. So back in 1928, we originated back in Lugano, Switzerland. And how this started was a little man on a rowboat. Initially was taking wood across the river, but then decided that people were more fun. So he started taking people across the river. This was during the World War, so no one was really travelling outside of Switzerland at that point in time. So that's how we started. Then 1 rowboat turned into 2. And then fast forward to 90 years, we now have 57 offices around the world and have 4 fantastic brands that sit under the Globus family. I will mention that we are still family owned, so we're in our 3rd generation as well, so that's something quite special in its own right. So Globus is our first class way of travelling. It's going above and beyond in the destinations that you're travelling to, and there are some brochures at the back there for you if you would like to look a little bit deeper into what that kind of experience would be like. We then have Avalon Waterways, which is our 5-star luxury river cruising brand. Not only does this take you out to Europe, but there are many other destinations that we also feature, which I will get to as well. And then we have Monograms, which is our independent city stay. So if you're not wanting to do a coach tour per se, but you still would like the logistics taken care of, potentially in the hands of a local host who knows the city in and out and can share their insight with you, then that's where Monograms works in quite nicely as well. But Globus, so like I mentioned, 90 years, landmark. Local favourites. So we include sightseeing throughout our Globus program. We really wouldn't be looking to add things on as optionals with Globus, but we take it one step further, and these are called local favourites. So these are included in addition to the normal sightseeing that you would expect. Local favourites are really getting to the heart of the destination, and it could be things like having dinner with a family in Tuscany over locally sourced produce from their own property. It's those kinds of experiences that make travel real and make you feel like a local in a sense as well. Relax and recharge. So with Globus, we have our extra legroom seating on our coaches so that you really can feel comfortable when you're travelling around. Not only that, but we are staying at our first class hotels as well, so all your first class amenities will be included with them. Experience every moment and switch off, we've got you. The whole idea of this is that we want you to feel like you're there to see the town you're in. You shouldn't have to worry about how you're going to get to the next place or anything like that. It's about taking the stress out of travel so that you can really enjoy what you're there to do. So that is Globus. Now, a lot of us like to think that summer is one of the best times to travel to Europe, and it is, but there is just as much that you can do in the off-peak, which is what we call winter as well. So Globus offers these winter escapes. So we have over 30 itineraries spanning across Europe. We have also started introducing them for Japan and also through South America. The best thing about our escapes program is that you get half the crowds because it's too cold potentially, or everyone thinks that they should be there for summer, and then that also means that you get half the price. So in terms of making your travel dollar go further, that's where an escape can really come in handy because you're getting everything that you would expect from a Globus experience, but because you are travelling in that off-peak, you are saving on the cost. Doesn't this look spectacular? Wouldn't you want to be here right now? It's pretty magical. This is what a day in the life of a trip with Avalon Waterways is. So these are called our panorama suites, and believe it or not, these actually make up 80% of our suites on board our ships in Europe. So you have a very good chance that you'll be staying in one of these. We've looked at the design of a typical river cruise cabin back when we launched in 2004, and what we decided was it didn't make too much sense for us to have the bed facing the wall, potentially with a nice artwork hanging or a TV or whatnot. You're there to see Europe, so what's the best way to do that? Well, it didn't take up too much genius. However, what we decided to do, and you can't really see it in this image, but we've actually turned the bed to face the river. So at all points you feel like you are surrounded in Europe. What we also decided to do was have these beautiful French balcony doors. Some companies also will do your fixed balconies, but the reason that we decided to do the French balcony is so that we could make your room feel like a balcony. And what this means is that in the industry, our cabins are about 30% bigger than anything else that you would find. So when you are in your cabin, you will be having that nice relaxation time that you would need in the river cruise. As I mentioned, it's not just Europe that we travel to, and I'm happy to discuss Avalon more with you if you do have any interest around that. We travel to the Mekong. I'm very fortunate to be going in 2 weeks' time. So if we come and do this again next year, I'll be able to tell you all about that. The beautiful Mekong, so Vietnam to Cambodia. So we have 2 ships operating there. One of them was only launched this year. But our fleet in itself is a very young fleet, so our oldest ship, I think we just got rid of our 2011 one, so they're very, very modern, and they all are identical. So it's not like you go on one and you will see different decor to another. They are identical. They have that modern, luxurious feel. We do the Ganges in India, so this was a new one for this year. We have 7 departures operating, and not only do we do the river cruise, but we also partner that up with the Golden Triangle in North India as well. We do the Amazon and then the Galapagos as well. For those who are adventurous and want to see the wildlife over there, that is a really unique experience with Avalon. We actually only have 8 cabins on board, which means only ever 16 of you at one point in time. So again, a really intimate experience. And that leads me to our last brand before I get on to Cosmos, which is Monograms. This is, I think, one of the most interesting programs out there because there is nothing else like it. It gives you the full freedom to go out and travel on your own, but it still gives you that comfort that someone's there if something was to go wrong and you needed some extra advice. So Monograms includes a local host. So in each destination, we have our experts who live in the towns that we're visiting. When you arrive, they'll sit down with you and they'll talk through exactly what you'd like to get out of your holiday, make suggestions, help you plan it out. Really, you can use them as much or as little as you like. So if you don't really want to sit down with them, you don't have to, but they are there to offer you that extra guidance when it comes to the destination, particularly if you haven't been there before. But not only that, they will also be able to make bookings for you, reservations, book things in like the Moulin Rouge, so that again, all that hassle of the logistics is taken out of it, and you can then still go on and enjoy the trip as you should. Hand-selected hotels. So we know that there are not enough hours in the day. So we've made it really simple, and we've hand-selected our top hotels in each city that we travel to. You'll always find these at the back of the brochure, so you just need to flip to the back, and each city will have itemised hotels. They do range from your 3.5 to 5 stars, so you do have a bit of an option here as well, but they're always centrally located, which is the key when you're travelling. VIP sightseeing. So it's not just your stock standard sightseeing, it's actually getting you to the front of the line so you can travel more and spend less time waiting. I don't know if many of you have travelled to Europe before and maybe didn't have a front of the line pass to things like the Eiffel Tower or the Colosseum, but sometimes you can be waiting there for 3 to 4 hours just to get through the line. So having the VIP access to the sites eliminates all of that, and generally you can get in earlier before the general public would. Transportation. So we have multi-city itineraries as well, and with these we will either include your rail or your air, depending on how far. We're not going to put you on a train from one side of Europe to the other. We will fly you in that instance. But with the local host, they will actually transfer you to either the airport or the train station, just to really give you that ease again. They'll take you in as far as they can before they physically need a ticket themselves, and keeping in mind they are local, so they use these rail stations every day. So something to keep in mind there. What I will add though is while we include the internal transfers between cities, to and from the airport they would be an additional cost in case you were wondering about that one. Breakfast is included daily as well, so you can have the most important meal of the day and then head out off on your adventure. And personalisation. So what you actually do in your day is completely up to you. We have all the tools there to make it really easy, but ultimately it can be whatever you want it to be. Now, Your Way is a new concept that we introduced to the Monograms program. So when we initially launched this back in 2003, we essentially had set itineraries that we thought would be popular. However, what we know in this day and age is that people like to customise, and there's not a cookie cutter one-size-fits-all when it comes to travel anymore. So what we've done is Your Way. Now with our Your Way cities, these are actually customisable by you. So the only criteria is that you're spending 2 to 5 nights between each city. Apart from that, you can go crazy with what you'd like to book in. So new for 2019 is Madrid and Barcelona. So if you are thinking about doing Spain and Portugal with June next year, you might like to add a few extra nights in Madrid, or as the itinerary doesn't go out to Barcelona, you might like to add 3 to 5 nights in Barcelona before you decide to come home. So they could work hand in hand for you as well. Cosmos. So Cosmos is all about turning travel dreams into reality, and it's no wonder it's our biggest selling brand out of Australia, because it really allows your travel dollar to go a lot further for you to see more without having to wear the cost of that. So that is essentially, in essence, what a Cosmos should be about. But I do have a little video for you in case I wasn't convincing enough.
When you dream of adventure, do you envision stepping back in time or looking forward to see what's ahead? Do you picture yourself sipping perfectly aged wines or drinking in picture-perfect views? Do you imagine standing before the world's greatest masterpieces or simply discovering the art of perfectly crafting espresso? It's time to wake up to your wildest dreams and turn no into go. Someday into today, with incredible freedom, flexibility, and
That's South Africa for you.
Cosmos is the travel company that turns dreams into reality. So no matter where in the world your heart takes you, to the charming villages of England, down the romantic canals of Italy, or through the bustling hotels of China, you can customize your holiday to be as unique as you are. See the iconic sights, or find adventure off the beaten path. Follow a guide, or follow a whim. With ample free time built into your itinerary, the choice is yours with Cosmos. And now, with Cosmos Lite, the world's first a la carte touring style, the choices are endless. Cosmos Lite includes the right hotels, essential transportation, tour director, and all the free time in the world. So with the help of the Cosmos Go app, you can tailor your journey to your own interests, pace and budget. Which means you can rise early or sleep in, sightsee or people watch, listen to the stories of legends, or simply interact with the locals. Whatever your wish, whatever your dream, make it a reality with Cosmos.
Okay. So what you should expect from a Cosmos holiday? Well, we have innovative itineraries. So we're not just doing the stock standard tick off the list type of itineraries, but we actually want to take you beyond what you would probably imagine you could achieve. Smart hotels. So as I mentioned, Cosmos is a value brand, but there are 3 criteria that we look for every time we choose a hotel for Cosmos. And they're called our 3 Cs. So that is convenient, comfortable, I just lost my train of thought. Clean, comfortable and convenient. There we go. Now I'm sure you probably agree that these 3 key elements are important to you when you come back from a day out of travelling and when you take that on board with Cosmos. Just right sightseeing. So with Cosmos we'll include everything that we feel that you must see, so you can tick off all the major sites off your bucket list, but then we balance that with free time as well so that you can go even further, and whether that be to people watch or whether that be to actually go and do a little bit more sightseeing on your own, that is completely up to you when it is a Cosmos holiday. New motor coaches, particularly through Europe. When you get to Africa you will be having a few jeeps, so I will focus on Europe for this particular point. But new motor coaches, so through Europe, Wi-Fi on board your coaches, I'm sure this is very important to most of you. You'd like to keep up to date with loved ones while you're travelling, taking photos and uploading them straight away. We have huge windows as well so that you can take those photos while you're travelling. But yeah, absolutely new. Balance of sights and leisure, which I already touched on, and personalised touring, so in that free time you really can get the most out of the holiday. But the most important thing is that it's all at prices that make the trip a reality. And at the end of the day, we don't want to dream, we actually want to go and do. So that brings me to our first itinerary for the evening, which is Spain, Portugal and Morocco. So this itinerary will actually be escorted by June. So if you haven't met June before, she's my better half. She's definitely put me to shame in terms of what I'm wearing tonight. I feel a little bit underdressed. But Spain, Portugal, Morocco. I will tell you that this is our second top-selling itinerary when it comes to Europe. And when you actually break it down and look at where you're travelling to, it's a bit of a no-brainer as to why that is. So this is a Madrid return trip, which makes it quite easy. If you are looking at airfares, you can fly in and out of Madrid quite easily. Or if you'd like to jump across to Barcelona, that's just as easy to be organised. But this itinerary for 16 days starts just under $3,000 twin share. You will have your tour director on board, but you also have your own Aussie, June, on board as well to be there even further for you. So there's 15 breakfasts included, so breakfast is done. And then we also include half the dinners for you as well, so that we really can save on cost there for you. You get the services of a professional tour director and local guides, and then there's a few tour highlights that I will run through with you. But essentially we are heading in this direction down through the coast of Portugal, touching into Morocco before we come back up to Madrid. Yeah? No, this is just the tour, yeah. But airfares, June, yeah, roughly, what do you think?
Oh, the airfares as of today were like $1,400 with Cathay Pacific. Yeah, I just found the price today.
Yes.
So it's still not bad because I think
$1,400 is good.
Cosmos is giving an additional $250 per person. Yeah, on top of that price. So if you're interested, give me a call.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have 2 more seats on the bus actually.
That's the other thing I wanted to mention. We do have information up the back. Oh, if I could just grab everyone's attention again. I know it's very, very exciting, I know. But at the back table we do have further resources for you. So we have flyers on this particular itinerary as well as the brochure for you to have a look at. As Jude mentioned, seats are limited, so if this is something of interest, please let her know either tonight or within the next week so that you don't miss out. But I know how fun June can be, so I thought I'd bring some fun facts into my presentation this evening for what you might need to know when you're travelling through Spain, Portugal, Morocco. So firstly, you can enjoy a meal in the oldest restaurant in the world in Madrid, and that is called Restaurante Botín. The earliest recorded hot air balloon was actually in Portugal in 1709. And Morocco is about the same size as the state of California in the USA. So there you go. But similar to June, I want to make sure that I get the most information out to you as possible so that you know what to expect. So I do have a couple of little points down here for you, so just bear with me on that. So with Madrid, it is commonly said by the Spaniards that it is the closest thing to heaven. And the reason that they say this is because it is situated 2,180 feet above sea level. When we travel through, we have included sightseeing for you, but because you do have ultimately 3 days here, there is time for you to explore on your own. But what you will see with Cosmos is the Avenida Mer. You will also see the Royal Palace. In your free time, I should say, my suggestion is that a very popular afternoon snack are churros, especially with the dipping chocolate sauce. So when you do get to that afternoon snack point, that is what you should be looking for. But that is Madrid. We then travelled to Avila. Now, these fortified towers are actually the most complete fortified towers in Spain, and they are also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So you can tick that one off your list as well. These actually date back to the 12th century. We then will also go through Salamanca Plaza, the Plaza Mayor. Now this is the grandest square in Spain. So absolutely stunning. You'll want to take a few selfies in this one.
The selfie queens are traveling.
The selfie queens are traveling. You've got your photos taken care of. Now how many of you have heard of Fatima?
Yeah.
All of them. All of you? Perfect. What do we know about Fatima?
100 years.
Yeah, it's absolutely a huge religious spot.
Absolutely beautiful.
So it's one of the most visited shrines, and it's actually the 4th largest site for pilgrimages in the Catholic Church. And the reason for that is it actually dates back to the apparitions of Virgin Mary by 3 shepherds back in 1917. So that is why that is so important, and you will have time to actually explore and have your own time while you are in Fatima. Lisbon, the capital of Portugal. Now, I may have a little bit of a sweet tooth, but I can recommend the Portuguese tarts here as well. So as you're travelling through, churros, Portuguese tarts, that's what we should be looking for. It's a small city, but it boasts a big personality, and it's one that you will absolutely enjoy when you're travelling through Portugal. It is also known for getting the most sun in anywhere else in Europe, so make sure you pack your sunblock as well. How amazing does this look? So it's often said that with Seville, it's like taking a step back in time. Hello? It's like taking a step back in time, and this is the Royal Palace in Seville. It's called Alcazar. Absolutely fantastic. More commonly known these days, though, as one of the sets for Game of Thrones. So if you are familiar with that show, you will have probably seen these before. But again, something that you will get to experience when you spend your 2 nights in Seville. I will mention as well, this was built in the year 913. And then we jump over to Africa, so we hit Morocco. Casablanca is one of the more westernized, cities when it comes to Morocco. It's a modern city, and we will take you to the Hassan II Mosque, which is the largest mosque in Morocco. Its minaret soars 689 feet into the sky, just to put that into perspective. But personally, this is what I think of when I think of Morocco, and that is the markets. Marrakesh was founded in the 9th century, and it remains a tapestry of ramparts, mosques, palaces, gardens, and vibrant public areas and souks. When you do get to venture through to the souks, you will see many different types of spices that you probably wouldn't be able to get anywhere else in the world, but also things like clothing, ornate rugs, and a wide assortment of goods for sale. So ladies, if you do want to do some shopping, here we are. We then travel through to Fez. Now for those who maybe are thinking about doing Spain and Portugal, but maybe not South Africa, you still will get a little bit of a wildlife experience on our journey through to Fez from Marrakesh. So we are travelling through the cedar woods of the Middle Atlas Mountains. So this is home to the endangered Barbary ape, as well as wild boar and polecats. So you may see those. And then we start making our way back around up to Madrid via Granada. So Granada is home to thousands of castles. So if anyone is particularly intrigued by that, if you want to feel like a princess for the day, or a prince, then you will absolutely appreciate Granada. And on the way back up to Madrid, we also do stop in a wine cellar. You'll get to taste the local wines, and you'll probably want to bring some home with you as well, and that's okay. But that is in essence the major snapshots of this itinerary, but of course seeing them firsthand would be something else. Now I'm going to pause for a moment and pass over to Jude. So I've got South Africa here now. Yeah, so you can. Okay. So look, we've been sitting so well for so long that we will pause for a break now. June has organised dinner for us, so that will be out shortly. Help yourselves, have a drink, settle down, and then we'll get started with South Africa.
There's plenty to eat and drink. I don't want to put it back in the fridge, but you're going to have it. So I have less work to do. I hope everyone's enjoying themselves so far this evening.
Yeah.
I just want to talk very little bit about Ruby Travels. My company Ruby Travels Worldwide has been in operation since 2015. And being the owner of a family travel business, this has allowed me to provide a very personal and specialized travel solution to all the travelers that come to us with their travel needs. I want to think that our travel business is a cut above the rest, because of the personal travel experience and valuable knowledge and skills that allows Ruby Travels to provide you with the very best deals and service. What today is about, I thought, was about meeting other fellow travelers, sharing travel stories, and I hope choosing to use Ruby Travels Worldwide for your next holiday quote. I'm not saying you've got to use me, but check out and see what I have to offer against other large companies like Flight Centre and Escape Travels, and the list goes on. I would like to pass you on to Alexa, who will present the second tour that will take you momentarily to South Africa and Victoria Falls. I have 9 passengers already booked on this group tour, some of whom are present here today. I can't wait to be on this tour. The tour departs 22nd of September and ends on 8th of October 2019. This is going to be an awesome safari as you ride in open-air safari vehicles during game drives in the Kruger National Park and of course the magnificent Victoria Falls. But I'll let Alex take you through this journey. Thank you.
I just thought I'd take the opportunity now, if we could just give June a round of applause for putting everything together tonight. It definitely is a big effort. Alrighty, Africa. How many of you have thought about travelling to Africa at some point in your life? Get a show of hands. Okay. It's generally the big bucket list trip. How many of you, though, think that you can achieve a trip to Africa in just one trip? No. So it's a bit of a misconception in the market space that you can go to Africa once and cover everything. But it is a huge, huge beast, no pun intended there. But when it comes to South Africa, there are so many vast landscapes, land mass to travel, that we're going to take you through, I guess, an introduction to what a trip to Africa would be like. And from there, you may find yourself going back time and time again, like yourself. So, without further ado, this is the trip that we're looking at. So it's from the Cape to Kruger, and we do have the Victoria Falls extension included in this itinerary as well. What it includes is your full tour. Airfares are additional to this. However, Jude was telling me earlier that there are some really great sale fares out there at the moment. How much?
As of today, it's gone up a bit. It's like $1,700.
That's $1,700.
You could get it for less if the price goes
If
down.
there's a sale or something. But typically, leaving it closer to the date, back when I was a travel agent, these airfares can jump as high as $2,500. So leave it to the last minute and you do pay the price sometimes. But for the actual tour itself, you're getting 17 days. from $6,372, which is phenomenal value for what you're actually covering. This also does include an internal airfare that's taken care of by Cosmos as well. So you'll have all your breakfasts included, and you will have half, your lunches and dinners included as well, so 4 lunches and 4 dinners. The services again of a professional tour director and local guides. Again, I will talk you through the most scenic parts of this particular itinerary. So as you can see here, we start down in Cape Town. We then make our way across the coastline before we fly up, and that's where we get to see the amazing animals that Africa has to offer. So we start in Cape Town. Now we have 3 days here. On your day of arrival, that is just for you to settle in, acclimatise to the destination that you're in. On the second day, we do have some included sightseeing for you as well. It's a bit of a balance. As I mentioned, we do like to balance the sightseeing with Cosmos. But when it comes to actual Cape Town as a destination, it's absolutely beautiful from the sea all the way up to the sky. What you can see here is Table Mountain, and that essentially crowns the city of Cape Town. Some of my suggestions while you are visiting Cape Town is that we do have an optional excursion should you like to choose to go and see the Cape Town wine regions. I've seen a few different wine glasses around tonight, so I know what we like to drink. And it does get really great when you get over to Cape Town, and it's wines that you wouldn't typically find back here in Australia. So to give you an example of what the winelands look like, this is them. What you also might like to do with wine isn't particularly your flavour for this trip, is do a cruise out to Robben Island, and that is where Nelson Mandela spent 18 of his 27 years in prison. So a lot of history there as well. Then we start our drive along the coastline, and the first port of call is your Stony Point Nature Reserve. Now these type of penguins are actually called the African penguin, so very original here. But you may or may not know that these penguins are actually endangered species. So absolutely important to obviously get out and see them. Obviously, we hope that they become not endangered anymore, but just in case, it'd be great to see these wonderful creatures while we still have them. They are known for the unique sound that they make. Now, I'm not going to try and do that for you. I'll leave that up to the actual experience on trip. But they make a unique sound. They grow on average to a height of 2 feet, so they're really cute and small. And they live in burrows and rock crevices along the beach. So that's what you'll see at this particular nature reserve. We then start on what is famously known as the garden route. Now, for those of you who know June or have just spent some time looking at her garden this afternoon, you'll appreciate that she really does love her garden and puts a lot of time into that. So it was unsurprising to me when she came up with this itinerary that features the garden route. And I'll explain to you a little bit as what the garden route entails. So it starts essentially in Cape Town or just out of Cape Town and travels through to Port Elizabeth. It will span over 300 kilometres of a stretch of coastal road, which is full of diverse vegetation and wildlife, an abundance of lagoons, lakes, mountains, forests and beaches along its winding roads, which will lead you all the way through to Port Elizabeth. So huge, vast terrains that you'll cover, a lot of adventure to do before we even get to the game parks. But it's absolutely stunning each and every way you turn. We then get to Shaka Land. Don't know why I did that, but it kind of makes me want to do that when I say Shaka Land. Essentially, it's a replica of a traditional Zulu homestead and a living monument to their culture. Here you'll learn more about their history and see how they handcraft ceramics and brew beer. But the exciting part is the game parks. Now, what time of the morning do you think you'll typically wake up to start your game drive? 4 o'clock in the morning. And what time are we back out there in the afternoon? Evening, so 5:30 p.m. Which means that if you enjoy your siesta, I'm Greek, so we definitely enjoy our siestas. In between, in the middle of the day, it's time to rest. But it is really paramount for your trip to see the animals when they are in their most, active state, and that is in dawn and dusk. So just be prepared for that. We will do quite a few game drives while we are in Kruger National Park, and it is the largest game park in Africa. So to put it into perspective, Kruger National Park is only marginally smaller than the country of Belgium. Just to put that into perspective for you. So yeah, as I mentioned, you'll experience your game drives while you're here, and you'll also have the opportunity to spot the big five, and if you're lucky, you'll also get to see a bit of a big cat chase and hunt while you are there. Who can tell me what you think the big five animals are when it comes to Africa? Obviously, I've given one away here, the lions.
Yeah.
That was the easy one. I've taken that away. Elephants. Yep. What else? Rhino. Buffalo.
Hippo.
And no, not the hippo. It's the leopard. Lucky I wrote that down wrong. It's a leopard. So these are the animals that you will experience and these are some of the major animals, I should say. You will see a much wider variety, and they do come up quite close and personal, but you will still be safe, obviously. What I want to point out is this is the vehicle that you will be travelling in when you are travelling with us, so just keep in mind that type of experience as well. The rhinos, the leopards, they're gorgeous. Definitely particularly hard to spot, again no pun intended, but if you do, it's an amazing experience. Some of the not part of the big five are the zebra as well as the giraffes. So there's a real wide variety of wildlife that you'll get to see here. But once we finish up at Kruger, we do spend 2 nights here, we then travel through the Clyde River Canyon. Again, another fantastic part of nature. This is a panoramic route that will take, you'll get to see God's Window, the 3 rendezvous and Burke's-like potholes, all with the stunning formations created by the river that flows through. Don't think I forgot about this guy, because you'll definitely be seeing plenty of these. But once we finish with Kruger, we'll then head up to Joburg, and then we'll include a flight across to Zimbabwe for you. From there, you will get to experience Victoria Falls, but before we get to Victoria Falls, you will also have a Zambezi River cruise included for the day. What you will see on this river cruise are some of these guys, but more scarily, these guys. So, my word of advice when you are cruising is to keep all arms and legs inside the ship at all times of the cruise, just in case. But Victoria Falls, absolutely stunning. It's an awe-inspiring experience. So Victoria Falls may not be the widest or the highest waterfall, but it is considered the largest waterfall for the fact that it boasts the biggest curtain of falling water in the world. So an absolutely amazing sight to see, and something that you really wouldn't see anywhere else. And that is how we finish our trip to South Africa. So hopefully we see lots of you here in 2019 cheersing to what an amazing trip you will have had or will be beginning. But that is essentially it from me this evening. On behalf of myself and Ruby Travels, we want to thank you for coming tonight, but we actually do want to break and have some Q&A times. This doesn't just have to be specific to the trips we're talking about. It could be about our Avalon River cruises, it could be about flights, visas, insurance. That's why I'm going to get Jude to come back up, because that's her forte and not mine. But if you do have any questions and answers, now is the time to ask, and we'll be more than happy to answer anything. So shoot away. Don't be scared of us. Yep.
Can I ask, how do you get the boats that you go on the river cruises? How many people do you
How many passengers? Absolutely. So we have 2 ship sizes depending on which rivers we're cruising on. The smaller ships are 128 and the big ships are 166 passengers. In the Mekong though, they get as little as 36 passengers. Yeah. Any other questions?
What's the duration of the river cruise?
They vary, depending on what you're looking at doing. So our shorter cruises start from 5 days. You'll find those ones across the Christmas markets. Might I add, Christmas markets are a fantastic time to see multiple Christmas markets by doing a river cruise. But they can go anywhere up to 21, 25 days.
The gratuities to the drivers of the Kruger National Park, do you pay them?
So you will have the option to prepay gratuities. I don't know if that's...
Yeah, they take the gratuities in the first part, but not the Victoria Falls part. There we have to pay that amount.
Or the National Park is closed?
Yeah, so you can choose to prepay the gratuities, which I definitely would recommend. However,
done that.
if you would like to give more when you're there, you're more than welcome to, but you don't have to feel obliged to.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Anyone interesting? Anyone wants to join us?
Yep.
So I'm Or are there any tours that you would recommend? My age would just say just wait until you're older.
Oh, there's definitely tours. Unfortunately not with our brands, but June can touch on that one.
Well, we'll have to look at like Kentucky. I'm agents for Kentucky. They do it for the younger people. So, well, you know what? When I was on a river cruise last year, Shuri and myself went. We did the one in France, and there was a young couple that had just got married, and they were having a great time. So
Absolutely.
it's about you touring and watching other things, and you might have some fun. Older people like you.
That is a good point. I do like to say that with Cosmos, I don't normally, with Cosmos in particular, I don't particularly put it down to a average age. I like to think of Cosmos as a brand that attracts like-minded people as opposed to ages. But if you, I guess why I took the question was, if you wanted to be surrounded by people of obviously your same age, then something like a Kentucky or a Top Deck would work quite well. But if you're open-minded to many people of different ages, then our brands can help with that. Definitely not. Young and enough. Any other questions before we wrap it up?
Yep. Well, we'll be around. You can chat.
Yeah, we'll be around.
I'm not asking anyone to leave straight away, but just keep eating and drinking, and we can chat and enjoy the evening. It's beautiful, I think.
If we don't eat all the food, it'll be me and June that has to eat, and we don't need that.
All right. An evening has to end with a thank you. And so I'd like to thank each one of you for coming to the information evening. I hope you enjoyed both the presentations that Alex has presented. This was meant to give you an idea on how conducted tours are run by this professional company, Globus family of brands. Should you want to join any conducted tour in future, please do give me a call or email me, and I can assist you with your holiday plans. Ruby Travels Worldwide feels so privileged to be an authorized agent for Globus family of brands. Thank you, Alexa, for your two presentations. You did an excellent job. Vivian. Vivian, come on, Vivian.
Come on, Vivian.
This is Vivian, my friend, and she runs an excellent catering business. She's very professional. She's got great ideas. Okay, I'd like to thank Vivian, who runs her own catering business, who has come straight from work to do this for Ruby Travels Worldwide. She has presented the grazing platters and desserts, which you will have shortly, in a very professional and beautiful way. Thank you so much, Vivian. If anyone wants to chat with Vivian about any future catering, she would love to talk to you. So we did something smaller for me. And Fred, come.
Ready? Go on, Fred. Everybody knows. What have I done wrong?
A big thank you to my friend Fred, who willingly offered to do the filming today of the proceedings for this evening. He will present me with the film, which I can send out to all of you, so that you can have a look and see how the evening went. I really appreciate what he did. Thank you. And that's for you, something small. Everyone's more than welcome to stay and enjoy the evening, which is still young. You can dance. So thank you everyone for coming today. And I hope to hear from you soon.
I think June just put her dress back on so we can dance.
You know the African dance. I don't know what that's about. But
Thank you.